Welcome back to another video, and today we got our Week 5 NFL game predictions. So we're going to do it how we always do it, where we look at every game this week, predict who we think is going to be the winner. Before we get into that, though, we'll look at the standings, obviously, from last week and the overall standings. Real quick, before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. This is the time to be on the channel. We do college football videos every single week. We're doing MLB videos weekly now with the playoffs up and running. And of course, we got college basketball and NBA content on the way with those seasons on the horizon. Real quick, links in the description as always: X, Twitch, TikTok, Discord. Make sure you follow those, join those. With all that being said, though, let's just jump right in to the standings. So I'm still in first. I got a 3-game lead over second, a 4-game lead over third. Matthew's still in second. He's usually the guy that sits in second here. I've won this. We've done this 3 years now. I've won all 3 years. I'm looking for the four-peat this year, so we'll see if I can get it. I'm off to a pretty good start. But when looking at the rest, we got a pretty close race here for second and third place. And then Jackson and Sammy, a little bit of a rough beginning. We'll see if they can pick it up as the season goes on. But let's just jump right into the Thursday night game. So the two guys in the middle didn't send me their picks in time, but they always do send the picks just a little bit late, so they'll be in the middle here. With that being said, though, this is a pretty good Thursday night game to start off. When looking at last week's performance for both these teams, the Bucks go out and beat the Eagles by 17 points. Very strong performance from them. The Falcons win by 2 over the Saints. Again, two very good performances, two good wins. The Bucks probably looked a little bit better in doing so. Baker Mayfield has been absolutely electric to start out the season. When looking at the Falcons, though, they're at home. I think they're going to get better as the year goes on. I think Kirk Cousins will get more adjusted to the team, get better with the players. It's prime time. It's at home in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins, they give him a lot of primetime games. I feel like he's already had like 3 this year. With that being said, though, this one's pretty 50-50. NFC South division battle. I'm back and forth who I want to take on this one. I'm going to go ahead and take the home team. The Falcons, I still do believe, win this division this year. I do believe Falcons, roster-wise and overall, are the best team in this division. So I am going to take the Falcons. Again, it's 50-50. It's in division. I'm going to take the home team here in prime time. But this one could definitely go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucks go out and win this one. When looking at this game, the London game here, the Jets taking on the Vikings. Now, the Vikings sitting at 4-0. They're one of two teams. They're one of two undefeated teams left in the league, along with the Chiefs. So pretty crazy stuff from the Vikings. They played amazing. Sam Darnold has looked really good. Justin Jefferson doing his thing as always. Jordan Addison's had a solid year. T.J. Hawkinson's only going to be coming back, so their offense is only going to get better unless Sam Darnold randomly declines, which I don't expect him to do. I do expect him to come down to earth a little bit, but I don't expect him to be bad in any sense. Aaron Jones has had a great start to the year. This Vikings defense looks elite. With all that being said, though, in London, how much do I trust the Vikings to move to 5-0? I really don't know. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Two very good defenses. I think Aaron Rodgers, he knows how to beat the Vikings. He's done it many times before. I think it favors them. It's in London. I feel like he's going to be able to adjust. He's the veteran guy. I'm going to take the Jets, but I don't like this at all. Definitely want I mean, I've picked against the Vikings a lot this year, and they've hurt me a lot because they are 4-0. I'm going to do it again. If they go out there and win this week, though, I mean, it's going to be hard not to pick them in a lot of games this year. I'm just going to trust the fact that the Jets defense is elite. I think Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Mike Williams, and Al Lazard are being incorporated well in the offense. I think the Jets, kind of similar to the Falcons, only going to get better as the season goes on. I think they win this one here against the Vikings in London. But London games are weird. Definitely, could see it going either way here. Pretty even matchup. First Sunday game, the Panthers go into Chicago to take on the Bears. The Bears beat the Rams last week. Very solid performance from them. The Panthers lose last week to the Bengals 34-24. Andy Dalton kind of comes down to earth a little bit after the massive game here in his first start, where they won. Now they're sitting at 1-3. The Bears at 2-2. I think this is a pretty easy one. I'm gonna take the home team. I think the Rams are better than the Panthers. Uh, I still believe the Panthers are one of the worst teams in the league. Now Chuba Hubbard's looked really good. Deontay Johnson as well. But I think the Bears defense can, shut down these weapons. The Panthers really don't have a lot there offensively. I think the Bears defense is one of the best defenses in the league. I think they shut them down and slow them down enough. And I think Caleb Williams has a very good game against this pretty subpar Panthers defense. So I do believe the Bears go out and win this one. They also get it at home here, which helps. Moving on, though, an AFC North matchup, the Ravens taking on the Bengals. The Ravens sitting at 2.5-point favorites. This one, another divisional game, could go either way. We just saw the Ravens go out and beat the Bills 35-10 in a blowout fashion on Sunday night. When looking at the Bengals, they finally win over the Panthers last week. So now they're moved to 1-3, but they have a very real chance to move to 1-4. There's also a chance that if the Bengals win, both these teams move to 2-3, which is pretty crazy to think because I had both these teams winning over 11 or 12 games this year and both making the playoffs. Now, definitely these teams are still, both playoff caliber teams. Just a slow start to the season. With that being said, though, this game is going to determine a lot. If the Bengals move to 1-4, that's pretty concerning. Obviously, they're gonna dig themselves a hole they're gonna have to climb out of as the season goes on. But again, I do think the Bengals get better as the season goes on. Joe Burrow still recovering, I guess you could say, from the injury. I know he's healthy, but he's still trying to get back into the swing of the things. But now that we're out of the first 4 weeks, these are kind of the games where you really get to see who is legit and who's not. I think it's really the first 4 weeks, kind of the welcome to football again period. Now we're kind of getting back into the rhythm. With that being said, though, I think these teams are honestly pretty evenly matched. The Ravens just blew out the Bills. Do I expect them to do that to the Bengals? No. It's on the road. The AFC North teams always play each other tough. I think the Bengals go out there, get a win at home. I've taken 2 underdogs already out of 4 games. I'm going to take the Bengals, though. I don't know. I just can't see them moving to 1-4 now. The Ravens looked very good. Derrick Henry's been balling out the past 2 games. I think the Bengals defense slows the Ravens down enough. I think they can score enough. I think Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown looked really good last week. Zach Moss still there. I think the Bengals get a win, but this one, again, could definitely go either way. There's a lot of good games this week. Moving on, though, to another divisional matchup, the AFC East. Dolphins going to New England to take on the Patriots. And the Patriots are actually favored in this game by 1. I believe Tyler Huntley will be starting for the Dolphins, so I do like that over Skylar Thompson. He played a bunch. He played some last week against the Titans on Monday night. I don't believe he played the whole game. I guess he did play the whole game. 96 yards on 14 completions, 22 attempts, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks. I mean, obviously you want Tua back as soon as possible because without Tua, this offense is just severely limited. Honestly, do I feel good about picking the Dolphins here? No, but I still do believe the Patriots are one of the worst teams in the league. I think the Dolphins have enough playmakers to get it done. I said the same thing last week against the Titans. Again, I mean, it's a 1-point spread. Vegas is saying this is a pick'em game, essentially. I'm going to go with the Dolphins just because I think there's more talent there, but could definitely see the Patriots winning this one at home. It's going to be a pretty close game. It's going to be a pretty ugly game. I'm going to take the Dolphins, though. The Browns against the Commanders, 1-3 versus 3-1. Let's talk about the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is proving me right. I said he was the best quarterback coming out of this draft class, and so far through 4 weeks of the season, I've been right. He has been absolutely ridiculous. I mean, his stats on the year, we can take a look at them. 82% completion rate, 900 yards, and in 4 weeks as a rookie. Uh, Also, 218 yards on the ground. He already has 1,000 total yards on the year. 4 rushing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns. He has been very, very good. In the Commanders, are the Commanders back? I mean, they just went out and blew out the Cardinals in a game that I thought would be very close. They've won 3 in a row against the Giants, the Bengals, and the Cardinals. The Bengals and Cardinals, too. The Bengals are a really good team. The Cardinals, solid team. So it's not like they're being nobodies. And coming out against Cleveland, I do believe this Commanders defense is a little bit better than maybe we thought. I mean, they held the Cardinals to 14 points. I like the matchup here. I mean, two defenses. I think the Browns defense is much better than the Commanders, but I think the Commanders offense is overall much better than the Browns. If the Browns can score, if the Browns can force turnovers, um, I think they win. But I just don't think Jane Daniels will turn the ball over. So I'm going to take the Commanders. I'm going to take Jane Daniels and the hot team here. Everybody's talking about this, and I think for good reason. They've been very solid. So the Commanders, I think, move to 4-1 after this game. But moving on to an AFC South matchup, a lot of divisional matchups here. The Colts going to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars now. There's going to be no Anthony Richardson, I believe, for this game. The Jags already at 3-point favorites. They are 0-4, so still looking for their first win. Are they the only winless team in the league? They honestly might be. With that being said, though, I mean, how realistic is it that they win this game? I mean, it's more realistic now than it was with Anthony Richardson. But Joe Flacco last week didn't necessarily look bad. I mean, they moved to 2-2. I believe they won last week. Let me just check really quick. Yeah, they beat the Steelers 27-24. The Jaguars look very bad. I mean, Christian Kirk is kind of figuring things out. Brian Thomas Jr. looks really good, but Etienne's not been kind of been subpar. Really, this whole team has. I think Joe Flacco goes out there, shows a little bit of Andy Dalton magic. I think the Colts are overall the better team here against the Jaguars. I think they win, even with their backup quarterback. The Bills go to Houston to take on the Texans, and arguably the game of the week. Probably the game of the week. I mean, 2 3-1 teams. It's a noon game. The Bills are favored by 1. Vegas is saying this is essentially a pick'em game. Who do I think will win this one? Now, the Bills coming off the loss against the Ravens in blowout fashion, so they didn't look great last week. The Texans coming off a close win against the Jaguars. I will say, the Texans are 3-1. They have not played very well to start out the season. I think they will get better as the season goes on. I think C.J. Stroud and Diggs continue to build that chemistry. Nico Collins is going to continue to dominate like he has been. And Joe Mixon coming back will help them. I don't know if he's going to play in this game. If he does, I honestly might switch my pick to the Texans, but as of right now, I don't think the Bills lose 2 in a row. I think Josh Allen, I mean, the way they're spreading the ball around in this offense, it's honestly benefited them. Josh Allen isn't forced to force Diggs targets anymore. He can kind of just give the ball to who deserves the ball and who's open. So I honestly think it benefited the Bills a little bit. I love the way they're playing right now. Kincaid's looking very good. James Cook's looking very good. I think the Bills and Josh Allen get the win over the Texans. Again, they've looked a little bit lackluster through the first 4 weeks of the season. I think the Bills have looked much better. I'm going to take them. The Raiders going to Denver to take on the Broncos in the first afternoon game of our slate. An AFC West battle here. The Broncos actually favored by 2.5. The big news with the Raiders, Davante Adams requests a trade now. How realistic is it that a trade gets done before Sunday? I don't know. I mean, there's still a lot of time left in the week. It could happen. We're seeing rumors, Jets, Saints, maybe even Chiefs. If he goes to any of those teams, that would be a huge move, regardless of who he goes to. The over-under in this game, 35.5. I believe this is the lowest of the week. Yeah, this is the lowest of the week. So Vegas is saying it's going to be a low-scoring game. Broncos, again, favored. How does the altitude help them here in this one? Maybe some. I mean, is Devontae Adams even going to play? I don't really know. I'm going to go with the Raiders just because I trust Gardner Minshew, as crazy as it is to say, over Bo Nix. But, I mean, I don't feel great about it. The Broncos did just beat the Jets last week. Although, I will say the Raiders beat the Browns. So, they both come off wins. I could definitely see this one going either way, but I think the Raiders defensively can cause some turnovers with Max Crosby against that young quarterback. So give me the Raiders in this one. An NFC West matchup. The Cardinals travel to San Fran to take on the Niners. And with the Cardinals, I got pretty excited when we saw Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison have the blowout game. I mean, their offense is good. I mean, James Conner, Trey McBride. I already mentioned Marvin Harrison. They got Greg Dortch. Um, it's an interesting team. I think Kyler Murray will get better as the season goes on. But it's hard not to take the Niners at home here. I mean, they are one of the best teams in the league, if not the best. I know they started off 2-2, but I think they're gonna have things figured out here real soon. I mean, it's hard to expect them not to. So with all that being said, I'm going to take the Niners. Keep it short and simple. Debo's back, Kittle's back. I think the offense rolls in this one. Give me the Niners here. Moving on though to the Packers and the Rams. Now this one I feel like is a very interesting game because everybody's on the Rams here. I'm not so sure about this one. They just lost to the Bears. I know the Packers just lost as well, but Jordan Love's back. He's going to start off a little slow coming off the MCL injury, but we saw a very promising stat line from Jaden Reed. We saw a very promising stat line from Dontavian Wicks. The receivers look much better with Jordan Love in the offense. The offense overall looks much better with Jordan Love than Malik Willis. With the Rams, they're still without Cooper Kupp, still without Puka Nacua, still without a majority of their O-line. I'm going to take the Packers. I do believe when both teams are fully healthy, they're pretty evenly matched, but the Rams very beat up right now. The Packers now getting everyone back. I think the Packers will win this one here, even with it being on the road. They're favored by 3. Give me Green Bay here. Moving on, though, to the final afternoon game on the slate. The Giants go to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. As much as I love Malik Nabers, I don't think he's going to be enough here. I think the Seattle DBs are going to be prepared for this. Could we see a Devin Singletary game? I mean, you could argue. But when looking at the Seattle side of things, DK Metcalf's had a great start of the season. Kenneth Walker is back now. He had 3 touchdowns last week. The Seahawks at 3-1 now. They did fall to the Lions, but they put up 29 points still. The defense did give up 42, but I would argue the Lions could potentially have the best offense in the league. So I'm not too worried about there. The Giants definitely have nowhere near the offense. The Lions do. Like I said, Kenneth Walker's coming back. JSN's expanding his role in the offense. They still got Tyler Lockett. DK's looking really good this year. I think the Seahawks get it done at home. So I'm going to go ahead and take Seattle in this one over the Giants. I just think they're over the better team. They're favored by 6.5, so it's hard not to pick them. On Sunday night, though, we got 2 big-name teams, the Cowboys, going to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Now, this game could definitely go either way. I'm actually surprised to see this. Justin Fields and the Steelers favored by 2.5 points. Was not expecting this. They are 3-1. The Cowboys at 2-2. The Steelers did lose last week to the Colts without Anthony Richardson, so that does concern me a little bit. And the Cowboys were in a relatively close game with the Giants, only winning by 5 points. Now, I believe the Giants did score late to make it look a little bit closer than it really was. I mean, not really, actually. Cowboys only up by 5 at halftime. The Giants just kind of stuck around with them. They kicked a whole lot of field goals, kicked 5 field goals, so you're not going to beat a team. You got to score touchdowns. But the Cowboys have not looked impressive so far through the season. The Steelers, I would argue, have with Fields. He's actually been playing really good. But again, you're kind of out of the first 4 weeks. I think we're starting to really, this week we'll really see the full story for most of these teams. So I do expect the Cowboys to go out there and win this game. Now, they are suffering some injuries, I believe, on defense. That could come back to bite them. I mean, both these teams elite defenses. And, I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I think they're overall the better team here. It is on the road, which does worry me a little bit. Prime time, but are the Cowboys gonna be 2-3? I don't know. I think there's a good chance they go out and win this game in Pittsburgh. Give me the Cowboys. I feel like I'm taking a lot of underdogs this week. When looking at this game, though, the Saints and the Chiefs on Monday night, it's going to be in Arrowhead. The stadium's going to be packed. It's going to be a great environment. The Saints coming off a loss last week to the Falcons. The Chiefs did just beat the Falcons. Now, that's not very good logic in why I'm picking the Chiefs. They are without Rashee Rice for what looks like the rest of the season. Now, it's not confirmed, but it is going to be an ACL injury, so typically those do take a pretty long time to come back from. Carson Steele doesn't look great, but they bring in Kareem Hunt. Kelsey has a good game last week, so that's something to look out for. I think he will have a better game with Rashee Rice. I think we're really going to see how good Xavier Worthy truly is with no Rashee Rice. But ultimately, it does hurt the cap of this offense. Now, if they go out and get Devontae Adams, then we could be having a different conversation. But when looking at the Chiefs, they're still one of the best defenses in the league with Chris Jones out there. The Saints, you could argue, I mean, they've had a pretty solid start to the season, but I believe they lost 2 weeks in a row. I do think the Chiefs are overall the better team here. They're the more complete team. I think Derek Carr struggles against this Chiefs pass rush with George Karlaftis, Chris Jones, Trent McDuffie in the secondary. I think the Chiefs get it done overall. I think we see a Mahomes game where he doesn't turn it over for once. I believe he's thrown 5 picks through 4 games. Not a great start, but they're winning. I mean, they're 4-0, so how much does that really matter? But I'm going to go ahead and take the Chiefs. Even without Rashee Rice, I think they get it done. Andy Reid's just an absolute genius. But that is going to do it for the Week 5 NFL game predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you go down there, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn on the notice to make sure you don't miss whenever we post. Like I said earlier, not only is it NFL, but college football every single week, MLB every single week when that season is around, and obviously when basketball starts up, NBA and college basketball videos will be on the channel weekly. You can expect that. Links in the description, as always, X, Twitch, TikTok, Discord. Make sure you follow those, join those. With all that being said, though, that's going to do it for the Week 5 NFL game predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and thank you for watching.